Oh boy, buckle your seatbelts because the road to the Bachelorette's final rose just got a major bump in it. Or if you're Katie, the road just opened up to a sinkhole and swallowed you down into a pit. What I'm saying is Katie's Bachelorette season is not going well, and at this point, I'm not even sure there's gonna be a final rose. Let's break down that fight in Monday's episode. I'm Anna Rumer, and this is Pop Culture Social Call. Hometowns, the week where the lead gets to meet the top 4 contestants' families, or I guess top 3 because Michael A. self-evicted to go be the next bachelor, spend time with his son. It's just Greg, Blake, and Justin now, and believe me, Justin is just as shocked he's still here as the rest of us. At this point in the season, Greg is so far ahead of the other guys. Our resident sad boy got the first impression rose, he's had more one-on-one dates than anyone else, and Katie straight up told him she was falling for him. I got about one chime of my wedding bells in before reality ripped them straight out of my hands. Here's where everything starts to go wrong. Katie has made it clear she's not going to say I love you until she's down to her final rose, which I think is wise. We all remember Ben's season. But when Greg pours his heart out to her, saying she fills the hole in his life left when his father died, Katie responds by saying she loves to look at him. I don't know if that was her trying to give a I love you, but yikes. It was awkward. You could see Greg turn in this moment, so when he confronted her the next day about it, yikes. This fight was one of the more real ones I've ever seen on the show, and man, it was hard to watch. Greg accused Katie of not caring about him at all, saying he didn't want to hear about final roses and game show lingo when he just told his mom she'd met his future wife. Katie, meanwhile, was totally taken aback, being like, oh my god, how much validation can I give you? I felt like the undertone of that was just play ball, it's you in like 2 weeks. Either way, things got nasty, especially on Greg's side, and by the end, Katie was on her knees crying to him, trying to make things right. He was done with it though, and by the end of the episode, both he and Katie were asking for a flight home. Now there's been a lot of strong words coming out of Bachelor Nation right now because gaslighting and narcissist have been used so many times on the internet, they now basically mean nothing. I'm not totally villainizing Greg, although I definitely think he behaved really poorly, but it's clear he and Katie just don't communicate well. They were both talking at each other, but I didn't get any kind of sense they were grasping where the other one was coming from. Greg was clearly coming at this from a real-life perspective and was suspicious of Katie for basically being the Bachelorette. Katie, meanwhile, couldn't understand the sudden shift from the show they both agreed to be on being okay versus being very not okay in like 2 seconds. Now, we only got to see a few minutes of that fight, but apparently it was hours of going back and forth. People don't behave well when they're hurt, and I'm not excusing Greg here, go to therapy. But I think part of the reason this breakup was so triggering for people watching at home is because it's the most realistic breakup I've ever seen on the show. Down and dirty, manipulative, heartbreaking. Are those two gonna get back together? I hope not if that's the way they fight. But then is she gonna get engaged to Blake when she just begged Greg to stay? That's awkward. And what is Justin gonna get for lunch at the airport on the way home? We're not gonna know until next week's finale. Until then, check out popculture.com for all the latest, and I'll see you next time on Pop Culture Social Call.